Wow, I can't believe it's been a year already. What's up guys, it's me, Little Bomber, and today I'm going to be giving you a special video. This is going to be a video talking about my journey before, during, and after Kingdom Hearts 3, while also be giving a slight review of everything. I call it my Kingdom Hearts 3 Retrospective. So this video will be split into 4 categories. Before the journey, talking about my experience a little bit before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. The journey, which will be not only going over my feelings during the game, but will also include my review of the game. After the battle, which is my feelings towards the game and series after I beat the game, and finally, Remind, which that is self-explanatory. So without further delay, let's dive on in. So I was one of many people who got Kingdom Hearts 3 on release date, and I couldn't believe the day had actually come when I got the game. I remember as an 8-year-old boy beating Kingdom Hearts 2 for the first time and watching the epilogue, dying to know what was in Mickey's letter he sent to Sora. I also remember wondering if there was going to be any more Kingdom Hearts games. I remember as a kid simply googling Kingdom Hearts 3 and getting this custom-made box art title, Kingdom Hearts 3 The Keyblade Wars.
Any real Kingdom Hearts fan during 2006 knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And I also remember seeing this weird CGI clip on YouTube called Kingdom Hearts 3 Trailer, which was actually just a Kingdom Hearts 2 secret ending.
Again, the real ones know what I'm talking about.
At this point in my life, I was just waiting for the next Kingdom Hearts games to come out, and hopefully 3, just by going through the story. Well, a decade, 5 consoles, 7 games, 4 collection games, and several trailers later, we finally got Kingdom Hearts 3. And I gotta say, the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3, when we knew that that was the next game, was quick and fun, yet also agonizingly long and boring. When the game was first announced, I would just listen for anything else Kingdom Hearts 3 related, which would take forever to come. Now, that part of the wait wasn't so bad for most people, considering the collection games 1.5 and 2.5 were releasing. That kind of helped pass the time, and also 2.8 sort of helped set the stage for Kingdom Hearts 3, and then a 1.5 plus 2.5 on the PS4 came out. But man, those months before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out were agonizing. But on January 28th, I got home from classes, played 0.2 one last time, headed to GameStop, waited till 9, and picked up my game. So I got Kingdom Hearts 3 Monday night. I had gotten to right before the final boss in the toy box that same night. And then on Tuesday, I had gotten halfway through Arendelle, and on Wednesday, I had gotten all the way up right before the Keyblade Graveyard, and then on Thursday is when I finished the game. That feeling I got when I booted up the game after years of waiting was one of the best feelings in my life. And I definitely know that that's also the same case for other people in the Kingdom Hearts community. Seeing that art of Sora holding a Papa Fruit slowly pan in while I hear one of the best editions of Dearly Beloved, it was amazing. So, my first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3, I decided it would be on Proud Mode because I was confident enough in my own skills to be able to do well in the game. I remember when I was taking control of Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3, the first time I played, I actually called one of my best friends who was also a Kingdom Hearts fan, and I shared my excitement. Then from that point, it was just simply absorbing everything in the game that it had to offer. I was loving the story from the start, and I was just breezing through the game. The fun interactions between characters, the story in the Disney World, and the climax was beautiful to me. The gameplay was something I couldn't get enough of. So now we're going to get into sort of the review section of the game, and I will be breaking down the game section into 3 categories for Kingdom Hearts 3. First will be story, then gameplay, then replay value, and at the end of each section I will kind of give it a score of 1 to 5. Now I will say that there were some things that did not sit right with me during my journey playing Kingdom Hearts 3. One is that the protagonists spend way too much time belittling Sora during the journey. I personally can understand a quick comment or joke here and there, but when you look at someone like Donald, who spends the majority of the game insulting Sora to high heaven, like teasing the fact that he failed his Mark of Mastery exam, it was a bit uncomfortable to me. And that's weird coming from me because I like to joke around with people. I also started to realize that the story was reaching a level of predictability. Like, Sora not being a master in Kingdom Hearts 3, although that may be a personal thing for me, was a bit predictable to me. Kairi initially not doing anything too substantial was also pretty predictable. She did have some value in the story, don't get me wrong, but after seeing what she did and reminded what Nomura and the games are hinting at, I can tell to an extent that I was kind of grasping at straws in this video. The predictability also came from the climax. Don't get me wrong, I love the climax of the game, but I found it to be a bit too predictable that Sora would be the one to beat every member of the organization. Now, having the other Guardians be your party members was a welcome surprise to me, especially since they fight well with Sora and can often bring out the Wombo Combo. But I feel like it would have been better if I had the ability to play as the other Guardians when we went through the story during the Keyblade War. Remind was stepping in the right direction for that, but not entirely, since I still couldn't play as, you know, Lee or Xion or Ventus or Mickey. It's kind of like Nomura wanted to add different things to the story and try something new, but he slightly bailed out at the last second because he was afraid that we wouldn't like it. I will say that the dialogue in this game is certainly a cut above most games. While Sora may still sound like a dense numbskull who sounds like he sniffs glue during his free time here and there, he has sort of gone back to that slightly competent, sassy teenager he initially was in Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and Chain of Memories. The writing for any Disney World that had an original plot was spectacular to me. It felt like I was going to a world in Kingdom Hearts 1 again. Also, Kingdom Hearts 3 certainly delivered on big scenes with huge emotional payoff for the fans, like rescuing Aqua, or Xion's return, or Xehanort's defeat. I mean, Roxas's return is a scene that still to this day gives me major goosebumps, and I've had the game and seen that cutscene for over a year. Also, I will say that the way Kingdom Hearts 3 ended, while I may not have initially liked it, it brilliantly already set the stage for the next saga, especially with that epilogue. Hands down, one of the best scenes in the entire franchise. I will say that the ending for Kingdom Hearts 3 really didn't sit with me, and I almost hated the game after I saw the ending. But I kind of refused to let that happen, so I kept playing the game more and more. I went through the story a couple more times, and then I eventually found my way to tolerate the ending in the vanilla game. And I also like how the story clearly made steps towards its future while still being sort of ambiguous to the fans, enough to have us theorize on what will happen until we get to the next game, which is so much more fun to me. So if I were to give a score between 1 to 5 for the story for Kingdom Hearts 3, I would put the vanilla game at a solid 3.5 out of 5. So the gameplay is something that keeps blowing me away, and it feels like the Osaka team really took the best parts of every Kingdom Hearts game mixed into one. It's a main title Kingdom Hearts game, so you have your standard command menu with the attack, magic, and item commands, your standard attack combos, you got your HP that keeps you from ending up like Sora during the ending, you have your magic that helps make moves a bit more flashy, and items, which are jars full of mysterious substances that you don't question. They also added the focus gauge from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and 0.2 in Kingdom Hearts 3 to allow different methods of damaging enemies. That could also, greatly help you in battle. They also added full emotion from Dream Drop Distance to allow faster movement both in battle and maneuvering through the world, although it has been severely butchered since Dream Drop Distance. They brought back summons as well, although they are called links, and they included team attacks and even combo modifiers. They also brought back armor and accessories and stat boosts to increase your performance in battle. New to Kingdom Hearts is Keyblade transformations and form changes and attraction flows. Keyblade transformations and form changes feel like dry forms of Kingdom Hearts 2, but clearly on a larger scale to make Sora a bit more ambidextrous. With specific form changes, Sora can have the combo modifying heavy style like Valor, the magic changing combat like Wisdom, or a white ultimate form that is most people's go-tos when finishing a fight. Now, the Keyblade transformations certainly make the combos and the combat always feel new. Sora can beat people with custom figure states like he's going to the pros.
This man is going to the Olympics.
He can smash folks with a hammer like he's freaking Thor in Avengers Endgame, or smack someone with a million fists like Jotaro Joestar.
逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか。
近づかなきゃてめえをぶちのめせないんでな。
ほうほう。では十分近づくがよい。1秒前。ゼロ。
Now, the links is definitely something I want to talk about. So it's kind of weird to me that not only do you need to use your entire MP bar to use a link, it needs to be 100% full. Limits in Kingdom Hearts 2 also use the entire MP bar, but it didn't need to be full, allowing some magic combos to be mixed in with a limit to allow different methods of approaching someone in battle. However, this isn't the case in Kingdom Hearts 3. You're going to have to either make a choice of using magic attacks or using a link. Now, technically, you could use a magic attack and a link, but that requires that you use an item, you know, like an ether, which is a bit distracting. Speaking of magic, holy crap, is magic great. Initially, you start out with fire and water, but by endgame, you have access to magic that drains HP and clears a room of all enemies. Also, I really have to say, I really love the team attacks that they added in Kingdom Hearts 3. At random points while fighting, a situation command will appear which invokes a special team attack. Hands down, best team attack with Sora, Donald, and Goofy is the Goofy Bombardier. Although I don't like the fact that it shows up at random times, considering that they can be very useful against some enemies or bosses who are programmed to have a reaction to some team attack. I was also pretty taken back by the lack of Trinity Limit, which is honestly a staple in any Kingdom Hearts game with multiple party members. And no, the final situation command with Xehanort doesn't count, no matter how cool it is.
Chase the rainbow, motherfucker!
Also, the customization for gameplay is hands down the best in the series. You can not only use previous levels of magic, you can also customize your party members so that they can do certain things. Like set Donald to only heal Sora.
Donald has received peak customization. Screw my other party members. Oh, Goofy ain't looking so hot? Dang, bro, I wish I had a potion. Baymax is down? Dang, bro, you should have healed yourself. Hercules is out? Oh, well, maybe Donald will heal. Oh, wait! Now, if we can get Donald to use Zeta Flare from time to time, then we'd be all good.
Speaking of customizations, accessories are way more useful in Kingdom Hearts 3. Not only do they provide incredible boosts in stats, but they also have decent and/or exclusive abilities, like an ability that fills your situation command when you use Cure, or even Second Chance. Wait, hold on a second.
Donald has Second Chance and Withstand combo. Donald is on fire.
Also, you can upgrade your keyblades to increase their strength and add more abilities. Also, for the first time, party members talk during gameplay, but Donald talks a bit too much if you ask me. I mean, his noises, man, they haunt me. So, suffice to say, the gameplay in Kingdom Hearts 3 is amazing. I would give it a score of a solid 5 out of 5. So, Kingdom Hearts 3 has an abundance of extra stuff during and after the game. Every world has a unique gimmick or minigame that makes it stand out. In Olympus, you can help a kid find his action figure collection for his wall of Funko Pops that he has in his mother's basement. In the toy box, you can be in a mecha suit. In Corona, you can rave. In Monstropolis, you can rail grind like Sonic the frickin' Hedgehog. And in the Caribbean, you can also get STDs. Synthesis also make a return and is much more enjoyable in this game than Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. The ultimate weapon is hands down one of the best keyblades in the game. There's also the Gummy Phone, which serves as a guide to completing the game and also has its own missions with photo mode.
I gotta say, there's nothing like beating a boss and taking a selfie while you do it.
And there's also a fun time cooking with Little Chef Ramsay.
Where's the lamb sauce?
Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
The food you can make or buy really helps you, as they can improve your stats and even give you a special bonus like Curaza.
Free cure, I'll take that any day.
However, Donald, unfortunately, will not shut up about finding some ingredients. Now, there's something I was slightly dreading before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and that was the gummy ship, but it's actually loads of fun. Most worlds, you can simply fly over to said world, and you aren't really forced to fight any bosses. The only time you're really forced to fight a boss to access a world is about 3 times. Just like before, customizing the Gummy Ship has produced many awesome custom ships and plenty of fun fights and cool models that the game gives you. Now, I know you guys were waiting for me to talk about this. Lucky emblems. So in the game, there are hidden Mickeys in the game, and your goal is to find them all, and as it turns out, the secret ending requires you find all of them. I swear, at this point I'm so used to spotting the lucky emblems, I can't help but call out every time I see a hidden Mickey, whether it's in the game or in real life. Is that a mother freaking lucky emblem? There's also, of course, treasure chests that only the true gamers will find all of. Now, post-game stuff is kind of lackluster if you ask me. Specific post-game only really includes the battle gates, 15 portals that lead to extra battles that give you cool items, and of course secret reports to read that will add more to the lore. Also, Kingdom Hearts 3 has a couple of different playable characters that I believe improve the experience, but overall, I guess at best I put the extras at a score of 4 out of 5. And the only reason that it gets a score that high is because of the mini games that are included in Kingdom Hearts 3, which are fun, but again, the post-game stuff, it doesn't help it. So my initial feelings when Kingdom Hearts 3 ended were not exactly the best. I didn't know how to feel about Kingdom Hearts 3's ending just because of the way it went about things. I was personally expecting some kind of happier tone ending, not bittersweet. So when I got hit with Sora disappearing at the end, and it was all because he was trying to save Kairi, I almost hated the game because of that. I almost turned off my PlayStation and vowed never to play Kingdom Hearts 3 again. But I didn't want it to end that way. So I picked up the game again, I played it some more, I made tons of videos talking about not only theories on how the next game will turn out, but also, you know, how I think the game can be improved with DLC, how I think Kairi's character arc is going to progress the story after Kingdom Hearts 3, things like that, just because I thought it would help improve my feelings towards the game, because I was actually very critical when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and I beat it. I was pointing out everything I could find wrong with it. You know, no explorable Scala, the lack of Oathkeeper and Oblivion in base game. I was absolutely baffled by that. You know, I can confidently say a year later, especially with the Remind DLC, Kingdom Hearts 3 has become my favorite game in the entire franchise. So now I'm going to be talking about Remind. I'll also be talking about some extra DLC stuff. So Kingdom Hearts 3 has had a few DLC add-ons to make the experience a bit more fun. First bits of DLC include the extra Keyblades like Midnight Blue, Dawn Till Dusk, Starlight, and Phantom... Hold up. Who put the trash Xbox Keyblade in my script? Who out here playing Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox? But that's not it. So a couple months after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, they added a update to the game which included critical mode to Kingdom Hearts 3 to allow the more hardcore players to challenge themselves. And I mentioned before that I typically like to play the Kingdom Hearts games on the hardest difficulty, so this was definitely a welcomed addition, especially with the additional combos that they had added to Kingdom Hearts 3 with critical mode. So roughly a year after Kingdom Hearts 3 released, they added a big expansion DLC called Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, which is essentially Kingdom Hearts 3 Final Mix. That included more abilities, Keyblades, context of the already existing story, and expansion on the story post-initial game with some neat bosses along with it. The addition of Oblivion and Oathkeeper is a welcome addition, although it really should have been in the base game if you ask me. And being able to play as Roxas is a welcome addition as well as freaking Kairi. Kairi for once is playable. I also like how the DLC spent some of its time explaining the story, providing more context to the less than pleasant ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 and some of the more confusing aspects like Shion's inclusion in the story. and even expanded a world that was heavily requested, Scala Kylum. After dealing with the Remind scenario, we move on to the Limit Cut episode, which has the data orgs returning, and I gotta say, this DLC really improves the replay value to the entire game, and serves as a great lead to whatever Kingdom Hearts is planned next. So to conclude, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is an amazing game, and with the addition of Remind, it has solidified it for me as the best entry in the series. Again, the game does have flaws, I'm not saying that it doesn't, and I can definitely recognize them, especially that existed in base game, but I truly can't believe it's been a year since this game came out, and was not only a conclusion to the Xehanort saga, but was also a great lead to what the series has planned next, and I certainly can't wait for the next game.